Okay, I'm putting the video phone up so I can see while I give you the video. There we go. By the way, you have to look at my nice shirt, Arabic shirt. Okay. All right. This is how to create your own Wikipedia page. My name is Peter Reynosa, and I will be explaining how to create your own Wikipedia page. And I'm coming from San Francisco, California. And I'm doing this YouTube to promote my literary novel. Here's my 30-second pitch. It's called The Vulgarist, and it's a story about what would happen if the world came to accept the philosophy of rationalism and only rationalism to understand our universe and our place in it. And by rationalism, I mean reason and logic and science. It is a dystopian novel. And below is the synopsis of the book and a link to where it is sold on Amazon Books. That's my pitch. And now to get to the real reason why you're here, why you're here. And I will be mainly reading from my notes so I do not forget anything. First, we need to quickly dismiss the idea that you shouldn't write your own Wikipedia page. And you can say Wikipedia page or article, both are fine. Too self-serving and biased, and you cannot be neutral, they say, some say. One of the things Wikipedia says is to avoid writing articles about yourself. I disagree. One of the things Wikipedia, it's not forbidden, it's just encouraged. And I will show you how, and I'll hopefully convince you why you should write your own Wikipedia page. Is learning to write your own Wikipedia page the same thing as learning to write a Wikipedia page? Yes and no. You will learn a lot of the same stuff, except writing your own Wikipedia page will turn out to be a lot different. It's a different experience, which I will explain later. And this video is to focus more on what you should know when writing your own Wikipedia page, and so other YouTube may go more in details of writing a particular Wikipedia page or the style, or how to do it. And I will let you know what I have learned from doing other people's Wikipedia pages. And I do this for therapy, this is why I do it, and for fun, not for money. And my specialty is be horror actresses and poetry, even though my great learning in life is philosophy. I love philosophy and thinking critically, but I have to calm my mind, and I do trivial stuff to do that. And the first thing I want you to know is this. Wikipedia wants you to write a Wikipedia page, but they just want you to play by their rules. And their rules are the right rules because you're playing their game. Always remember that. The first thing you need to do is create a new Gmail account and make it a real name, but not Stuntman5. And this way this is going to be your pen name or your nom de plume, and so the same. So you're going to use this Google account with a fake name to create your Wikipedia account, and you're going to be anonymous. Wikipedia accepts this. Easier to remember, and you can do this when you make your Wikipedia page. We do not see the name. Sorry about that. When you make a Wikipedia page, we don't want to see your name, Johnny, on an article that says Johnny. In the back part, just have a fake name and make it sound real. And try not to tell anyone about you doing this. Some people can be spiteful of your good fortune. Act surprised when it comes out. I've seen people do Wikipedia, tell their friends, and friends somehow think it's wrong. And here is my number one rule when writing your Wikipedia page. Do not lie. Do not exaggerate. And don't color the truth. It will come back to punish you. Don't put a nice light on it. Just be honest. So please, be sure everything you put on your Wikipedia page is the truth. The absolute truth. 100% the truth. Okay? First question to ask is finding out where you belong. And it is not who you are, but what you are. If you do anything, then you can't. If you don't do anything, then you cannot get a Wikipedia page. What about Kardashians, reality stars? Yes, even they do something. I'm making you something. You want a Wikipedia page about yourself because you do something, and sometimes you have to figure out what that is. And here's the good news: and if anybody does what you do and gets a Wikipedia page for it, then maybe you can. In other words, if other people do this thing and get a Wikipedia page, it means you can. Most people know what they are. Actress, poet, painter, musician, but sometimes you have to figure out what you do. Well, I am a television host for a local horror weekly program. Google words similar to what you are. Elvira, see how it defines her? That's how you probably define yourself. And sometimes you fall into a unique category. A meteor hits your house and now it glows, and you fight the government and not to touch it, and both political parties weigh in on it. turns into a big news thing. Well, that's going to be your thing. And it becomes an odd news story. That's when it becomes an odd news story, right? Yes, you can get a Wikipedia page for that. Read about people who do what you do. Most of us can't. In other words, if you say, well, I'm a poet, look up poets. See what they define. Or whatever you do, see how it's defined. And remember, you are one thing almost always at the beginning. For some reason, people like to, when they wake up Wikipedia, say, I'm a painter, I'm an artist, I'm a poet, I'm a rapper, blah. Just say what you are one thing. Okay? Yes, I know you're a political satirist, and yes, we know you like country music, but you're an actor, so pick on what you want to do. But generally focus on one thing unless you truly belong to a group of things. I paint and sculpture. You are an artist. Most people do several things, but are known for one thing. Robin Williams was a comedian that. 50 Cent is a rapper that. In other words, they do other things. Okay. Now for the $64 question. Are you notable? Okay, you're a female poet named Janet who last year had a tiny publishing house produce 100 copies of her poem. Is that notable? You're a young college athlete that broke 3 of the school records for a high jump. Is that notable? You're an actress who had done 5 really no-budget horror films and they were cheap and poor quality and just run. Is that notable? Are you, and I should add, in your B-horror movies, you went nude way too much. I just wanted to add that. And is any of these people Wikipedia page worthy? 6 months ago, you came out with your first CD and it hardly sold anything. Is that notable? Now here's the answer, and here's the gut of it. The answer is yes and no. Why yes and why? Why yes and why no? Because Wikipedia says yes and no. And how does Wikipedia decide if you're notable? It almost all comes down to what Wikipedia defines as notable. Here's a trick. And Wikipedia defines notable as that which is verifiable and relies on credible resources. In other words, it all comes down to references. Verifiable refers to being able to be tracked down and shown that it exists. In other words, you can verify that this is true information. Never make a fake source. It has to be able to be proven that it exists. And Wikipedia wants credible. That's the word for acceptable sources. Credible sources are books and magazines, and especially newspapers. Newspapers are, if you're starting, are usually the best ones. Avoid bloggers unless they are a reputable organization, a real magazine or real newspaper, a real news story outlet, or a serious website that is acceptable. In other words, that which look what seems acceptable, and then you can use that. Some websites are perfectly acceptable, and some aren't. And you will get the feel of this. Just say, "Oh, that's my friend's web blog. I don't want to go there." Basically, Wikipedia wants you to be able to prove what you say, and that's what they mean by notable. Now let's pretend Jane and Susan, at the beginning of their high school year, both write a small book of poems. Susan has a publisher produce 200 copies of her poems, and Janet has a small book of poems, but she is self-published. Then in April of their senior year, about a year and a half later, Janet and Susan are in a class, and Susan notices that Janet is getting some congratulations. Susan asks Janet, why the excitement? And Janet says, oh, they were congratulating me on getting a Wikipedia page. Susan pretends not to be interested, but after school, when she gets home, she Googles her. And lo and behold, she has a nice one-page Wikipedia page with 3 nice photos in it. Susan then says to herself, how the heck did she get a Wikipedia page and not me? Actually, Janet has been working on getting a Wikipedia page for the past year and a half. And what does that mean? It means she made sure to get a lot of stories about her and her poetry, and for different reasons in the press. In other words, she got just different stories. And unless you didn't notice this YouTube is very much about how to prepare yourself to get a Wikipedia page. It's not just how to write it; it's how to prepare yourself. I'm trying to show you how to get a Wikipedia page by telling you what you need to get a Wikipedia page. And by the way, a Wikipedia will help your career. And here's the big difference between writing a Wikipedia page and writing your own Wikipedia page. If you write your own Wikipedia page, you actually get to plan out how it's going to come before it ever gets there. You're going to be working on the references. If you write a Wikipedia page, you see what's out there. You say, oh, it's got only 3 articles, and you leave it alone. So this is, a lot of you are planning, and this is the planning stage. My personal preference is 9 sources. In other words, I would really recommend 9 stories, 9 different stories, and almost all of them from different sites. And if you do not have enough reliable and credible sources, you may be deleted on your Wikipedia page. It'll say, this article needs additional, or it may say, this article needs additional citation or verification. Do everything you can to get a story, and do different kinds of stories. Janet got 2 newspapers to review her book. She also got 2 serious websites to do interviews with her, and she also got mentioned in a teen magazine promoting a small convention she participated in for female empowerment through poetry. She made sure to get 2 of her poems published in tiny but acceptable magazines, and she also wrote 2 pieces, one about how my brother's death affected my view of life, a very beautiful piece and not at all exploitative, and another one for an emo online magazine she entitled The Art of Depression and its many wonderful uses. Actually, Jen has been taking every opportunity to get different stories. She also got mentioned in 3 articles by different newspapers about social activism. She even got the local university to do a piece on her and several high school kids who went to college to hold a poetry readathon for Martin Luther King Day. I've done that actually. It's a really nice thing to do. I've done, and college papers are okay when you're looking for a Wikipedia reference, but not usually high school papers unless the story gets picked up by the local papers. And she got twice mentioned on local news. And whatever you do not fake something, only promote the causes that are real. In other words, if you're going to promote a cause and get a newspaper, make sure you believe in your causes. Never support a cause you don't believe in just to get a Wikipedia page. And I should add, these references that you're going to see at the end of your page when you make your references, they're a part of the beautiful part of your page. If I look at a Wikipedia page and I don't see those references, I say, oh, this is an ugly page. Look at the references other people use that you want to use. For example, if you say, well, how did they get a Wikipedia page? Look at the references. See what magazines, what websites were acceptable, and what looks professional. You'll get the hang of it. And don't reference other Wikipedia pages. They generally don't like you to do that. Okay? I recommend 9 stories. Maybe you can get 9 stories, and I gave you 15 references. In other words, say you have a story come out, you maybe could take 2 things from that story and put them in a footnote. It's good. You want about 9 to 15 footnotes, and I would recommend 15, and you can use 1 or 2 stories 2 or 3 times, but I only recommend 1 story used for 1 or 2 references. And you want to have at least 9 to 15 footnotes. Now, I've never had them get angry at me at 9. 9 is maybe a number they accept. And do not use only 1 or 2 things and expect not to be told 2 view citations or even deleted. In other words, don't write your Wikipedia page and there's 15 footnotes from 2 articles. No, try 9 to 15 footnotes from 9 articles at least. That should be your goal. Okay. And I should add, if you do 1 thing, sometimes you can get 3 stories out of it. Say you publish a book. Look at how 3 stories. Local high school person publishes a book. Well, your book is about teenage suicide. Another article writes a book about teen suicide in poetry. It comes out, etc. So try to make your 1 story 3 stories. Okay. Now here we go. Most people are trying to break into something who want a Wikipedia page, and creating a reliable and credible source you can plan for, and learn how to get press for yourself. By the way, you need to learn how to get press, how to get things, because that's going to help you your career, but it's going to help you build a Wikipedia page. So use this thing just to promote, not just to promote yourself. Sorry about that. So use this thing just to promote yourself, and you'll find it works to promote you, and also set you up for a good Wikipedia page. By the way, setting yourself for a good Wikipedia page with all the references, it's going to be fantastic because it's going to also help your career. And it might take a little time. Think less than 1 year if you try. One person did it in 2 months. That one person, she had a lot of connections. I said, do this. She was a VR actress who pitched herself out for several interviews and photos and stories and hard commute. Quickly, she got them. And by the way, a professor that writes books, a lot of times, are really horrible at press. That's why a lot of professors have terrible Wikipedia pages, because they're not good at press. I've seen that too many times. How long should be? First, aim for 200 to 300 words. That's my advice. 200 to 300 words, that's going to give you about 1 solid page on Wikipedia. Think about 1 page, what it look like. And if it's too short, it may get deleted. Or it may say, this article is a stub. By the way, if you're in the porn industry, you don't need that phrase. This article is a stub. Take my word for it. Meaning too short. This means it's too short. It's very embarrassing and looks embarrassing and ugly when you have a stub. It looks like, wow, you don't belong here. There's not nothing that's about you. And do not make it longer. The reason I don't recommend it, it's going to grow on its own. If you make it longer, you're going to work yourself to death. Short is harder to work with than long. I know that sounds weird, so focus on doing a great short one and not a long one. For your worst Wikipedia, you can control the work. Make longer and short. Sorry about that. And you do not want to look like a megalomaniac. Don't make a little Wikipedia page and throw 10 things and 10 awards. Sometimes you can have your filmography or your awards, but make them very little. Do not give me this much awards, this much filmography, and this much who you are and what you do. It looks really bad. Okay? I've seen some Wikipedias by people who really haven't done that much, but I have to tell you, all the movies I've been in, I just mentioned that, sorry about that. Okay? And if you gain success, your Wikipedia page will grow. It will grow on its own, remember that. And when you write, do not plagiarize. I cannot tell you how that's one of the worst things you can do. Do not copy and paste what someone else said. You can copy structure, but not words. For example, if you see a sentence, you say, well, that fit mine, just change it to words yours said. But don't copy any more structure. I will explain a little later what I mean exactly by structure. And if Wikipedia thinks you have plagiarized, they may delete you or put these words. This article contains close paraphrasing of a non-free copyrighted source. Do not steal other people's phrases sense. So put it in your own words. In other words, I'm telling you under all conditions. If you're I can work by be actress, you see this paragraph, you add it to yours, they're gonna catch it. So don't do it. You just put your name. Okay? And neutrality we have to talk about. Your article must be neutral. What if it isn't? You could be deleted, or your Wikipedia article could have these words on it. The neutrality of this article is being disputed. Just say the facts and be able to show where you got your information. Here we use your verifiable and credible sources to help you show you are being neutral. Remember, stick to the facts that can be proven to come from a reliable and credible source. Janet is a very successful poet. No, Janet is an American poet. Yes. Her film was her film was a bird in the underground community. No. Her second film caused a controversy when it was revealed that actually human corpses were used as a backdrop as dead zombies. And you can use quotes, but they must be essential and not promotional. Alice Cooper said, cool. No, that's not right. Senator Barbarella said, this film should be banned, not as a form of censorship, but simply because it broke the law and brought much emotional pain and suffering to the relative. Good quote. And your Wikipedia page can be very intimate, but it has to remain neutral. Janet's first book of poems came out of the tragedy of her brother's suicide, which she has said was caused by him being gay and feeling alienated and constantly depressed. Very intimate, but done professionally, and tell you where it comes from. Okay? Do not make a vanity piece. A vanity piece that only talks about you doesn't look like a Wikipedia page. And here's the good news. And yet, to repeat myself, here's the good news. A beautifully written and professional looking Wikipedia page is the best vanity piece without being a vanity piece. And you're not supposed to promote and advertise yourself, but if you do a great Wikipedia page, it's going to promote you. If you do a great Wikipedia page, it's going to be the best of all advertisements. So if you want to do the perfect thing, so now I'm going to tell you, do a vanity piece, but make it by their methods. A beautiful one-page Wikipedia, it's the best vanity piece. It's done professionally. By professionally, I mean you're the professional, not me. The most common question people ask when I help them with their Wikipedia page is, what am I supposed to write? Fair enough. I tell them two things. First, go to Wikipedia sites that are like your subject. In other words, if you're a country singer, don't be looking at actor Wikipedia pages. If you're, say, an actor, don't go to science Wikipedia pages. You go to actor Wikipedia pages and try to get, the more specific you can get what you do. I'm a country singer that does bluegrass. Look at those. By the way, you can look at others, but you get the idea. In other words, athletes should look at athletes' websites and how they write. Soon you will start to see what they should look like. And use Wikipedia's first article and Wikipedia's writing better articles. Wikipedia has to work with Wikipedia. They have a thing called first article and Wikipedia writing your articles. Really good advice. Now let's talk about sections. And yes, your Wikipedia comes in sections. Your Wikipedia should be about 3 or 4 sections, maybe 5. And there are two different ways of doing this. One way is to have it in big letters, and then you mention, for example, you might, and something like early life. First you have your introduction, I'll get into that later, but then on your sections you have early life, passion, personal life, filmography, references, external links. And by the way, you will go by different ones. Some will have it early life and education, personal life, career. I think Julia Roberts, I believe, is early life and family, career, personal life. And then on the personal life, so you have relationships and marriage, religious beliefs, charities, and something else. Let's write that. And you can do this a lot of ways. See what other people have in your field. That is, if you're a country singer, look at the country singing Wikipedia pages. Here you can copy the structure. Now this is okay to copy the structure, but I recommend keeping it simple. This will be relatively easy. Just don't expect to have as much sections as someone who is very successful in their field, but compare them and decide. And you can make up your own sections, so when you get to stories, you will know what you need. The good thing about, I actually tell people to make up their sections. So when you try to get stories, you know what you need to fill in. You can actually, one of the great things about Wikipedia page, you can actually work backwards. Working backwards is starting to get the press, the stories, the clips, and then when you have your Wikipedia page, you say, I have it already. Very important. So if you go to Wikipedia, you'll see sections. Oh, and I really recommend the box. If you go to the Wikipedia page, a lot of people have their picture. I recommend this, a box like this. It usually says your name, a picture of you, born, occupation, spouse, years active. Different kind of boxes. Go to different boxes. And by the way, how do you do a box? You copy it and you put it on your page, and then you change your name to it. And by the way, that's not copying. You're copying structure. You're going to change it. You add a little different. A lot of boxes are exactly the same, and you will have an incredible Wikipedia thing if you have it. That sections, like I said, okay. The other way of doing sections is simply to use 4 or 5 sections and just skip a line between and simply write in everything without the section titles. In other words, your introduction will skip a line, and whatever, your different sections are just separated. Now it should be noted, a lot of people like that big, but if you have very little words, I recommend skipping the line because those big things are going to make it look smaller. You're aiming for 250 to 300 words. And by the way, make the big title like early life, career. You can click them on to see how they look, and you decide on that. Okay. And even without the section titles, people should be able to completely and easily understand what you are talking about, and what the section is about, which you are writing about. Excuse me. And sometimes this looks better than the sections. I'm sorry about that. A small Wikipedia page looks better to me without the section, but you decide. And by sections, I mean the big words: early career, education. And when you decide on sections by field, for example, if you're a writer, education tends to pop up. If you're a country singer, education doesn't exist. Oh, sorry, just joking. Ooh, I hope Hank Williams Jr. doesn't call me up tomorrow. Okay, and your first sentence and the first several sentences that follow, and this is your introduction. I call it the introduction, and they claim your notability. Janet is a female American poet. It could be that, followed by parentheses, born December 23rd, 1997. Try not to have an inferiority complex about your age. By that, I mean, I'm 50 years old. When you write your things, be able to say your age. It looks a little, what's the word that you say? It looks a little gimmicky, not gimmicky. And it doesn't look right. It looks like you're trying to hide something. So if you're an actress, if you're a singer, put your age because you can't hide it. Some of it will be, and then you add 2 or 3 more sentences. And if you go to people, you'll say, you'll see what they add, and then you'll say, okay, that's what I'm going to add. So that's all. But remember, the introduction tells you why you're notable. Peter Reynosa is Barack Obama's son. That's my claim to fame. No, I'm not his son. I don't think. Okay, that's his claim to fame. So boom, that's what you do, and I'm trying to ramble. I bring it back to reading. Okay, and add 20 to 30 blue words. They're called wiki links. A blue word, if you look at a site, you'll see blue. You see words that are blue, and blue means it has a wiki link in the words. If I say Peter Reynosa was born in Farmersville, California. Farmersville, the bracket turns into blue, and California it turns into blue. But make sure it fits. Don't just add. You should have 20 to 30 blues. And that's what you put into like these square brackets around, and that means they're Wikipedia linked. And then make them fit. And if you use it, and if you see red words, it means you put brackets around it and you thought it was blue, but it's not blue because it's red. And what does red mean? It means you're not a Wikipedia link, or you were a Wikipedia link and you got deleted. But cut out reds. Reds look ugly. It means like, hey, your friend, I heard someone say, oh, look at my friends in red, I like that. I said, no, it looked like it's a nobody. By the way, remember the rule. Blues do not date reds. Just remember that. And remember that if it's red, it looks ugly and amateurish, and don't do that. Now let's talk about photos. This may be the biggest mistake of Wikipedia pages. Add them. A nice Wikipedia page about Johnny Thomas, the poet, will look dull, but 3 photos and this baby will pop. First, use only the photos you take. I have used other people's photos and Wikipedia won't let me do it. And if how exists, it is trying to get Wikipedia to let you use someone else's photos, even with their permission. Many photos have something in them on the back of them that lets Wikipedia Commons know someone owns this photo and it requires permission to use this photo. So use only your photos and learn how to put up your photos on Wikipedia Commons. Wikipedia Commons is like a place where you put up photos that anybody can use. If you're trying to succeed in anything, you want photos up there. So remember to put your photos up. Learn Wikipedia Commons. And learn how, okay, this is where Wikipedia is, okay, for example, before you put your photo in it has to go to Wikipedia Commons. Remember that. And anyone can use a photo once it is put up, which is a great thing. When you get a Wikipedia account, you should be able to sign in to Wikipedia Commons to put up your photos that you want to use. Learn Wikipedia Commons. It will be a good friend, and they will get you put up. You get to put up a lot of things. And by the way, you want people to give you, but most importantly, you can use it. That's the most important thing. Other people, okay, I'm rambling. Why would you want anyone to use your photos of yourself? Because they may make a Wikipedia page and you will fit on their site. You're a B horror actress and you put up a photo of yourself acting in the movie The Curse of My Sister's Brain. Later, when the director of The Curse of My Sister's Brain does his page, he may want to use that photo on his page. It shows him directing you, so it fits perfectly. So you want people to use your photos. I recommend 2 or 3 photos in your Wikipedia page. Remember, 2 or 3 photos. The first photo is a headshot or a half of upper body right here. And it is best in that box. In other words, if you can get it in a box, it looks really professional, people. And make it easy to see a nice photo. Don't have an ugly photo. There's no excuse for that. Have a nice photo. The second photo should be of you doing something. A B horror actress at a convention. Susan at horror convention 2000 signing autograph. Janet, our poet, reading one of her poems at Del Monte University as a poetry reading. If you are a thing, then you do something. So in other words, this is your action photo. By the way, I think I went to Jordana Brewster, I think that's the actress name. She has a head photo, and then below she has another head photo, and they're at the same area, same hair, same background. It looks really crummy. So you want to be doing something. And by the way, you always take the photo, you put it up. That's going to look really nice. Okay. Third. Okay, here we go. The third photo I recommend be something that relates to what you do as a physical thing. Let me give you an example. A writer puts up his best photo of his book, or his most popular book, or his best looking book. A single photo of their CD. Nice CD. You can take other photos from Wikipedia pages. I was working with one screen queen where I found a movie she had been in, and it was a great movie poster, and it went on her Wikipedia page perfectly. So you can use another Wikipedia page photo if they absolutely fit. Do not put something that you were in related. And that's a good example. Should you ever use another? Yes. By the way, you may be on a popular show, and somebody took a photo of you 3 who are actresses working on that show, and it's on her page. By the way, how can you, if you put it on your page and it fits perfectly, it's okay. But don't try to squeeze it if it doesn't fit. And every one of your photos should be the best imaginable. And if you put a photo of yourself 10 years ago from the headshot in the box, say something like of Susan in 2005. And by the way, these are very important part. If all the things on Wikipedia page, photos of these, they look really beautiful if you add them. And I should say, when you put that third photo, you have them a little bit unique looking, and it'll work fine. You don't have to have a cold photo, except the first one, it looks cold fine. Second one, doing something. Third one, and it's okay. But say you're an actress that was in a popular movie, and the guy made a movie poster. You can take his movie poster, move it to yours, and it fits. Okay. Now this is a weird one. Sometimes I did a Wikipedia page, it would say the word orphan. Oh, you know, I forgot to mention something real quick. When you put your photos up, please add words to the bottom of them. Sometimes I see a photo of a girl signing. What are you doing? Oh, I'm at Horror Convention San Diego in 2006. Well, then put that there. I can't read what you're doing in my mind. Second, so remember that. So always put your, and when you put your headshot, what was it going to say? I think I said this already. When you have your headshot, if it's 10 years old, your photo, please say 10 years ago, in the year 2005. Because if you don't, people are going to meet and they're going to be very depressed. I've known horror directors that Wikipedia, the girl said, oh, she's good looking. He comes over, she's not 22 anymore, she's 31. And they're a little surprised. And she thinks she's still 22, but don't lie. So if you put any of your, if they date your photos and tell them what they're doing, except for the headshot, you just need to date it. Unless it's present, then you can ignore that. Sorry about that. This is a weird one. Sometimes I did a Wikipedia page and it would say the word orphan. It would say, this is an orphan article. By the way, does that mean Angelina Jolie gets to adopt me? And Jennifer Aniston will denounce me? Oh, okay, bad joke. Wikipedia wants your page to be between 2 and 5. By the way, an orphan lacks internal links. A lot of people don't know this. Internal links are, if you're on Wikipedia page, let me say, you come to me, you're a horror actress, and you say, hey, can you make me a Wikipedia page? Let me see your internal links. I type up your name. Nothing. I type up another girl. You're listed on 3 Wikipedia links. She goes, I am? Yeah, they have you here in the screen. And in this, you were in this movie? Yeah, where your director mentioned you. Oh, good. So what you do is you go to Wikipedia, type in your name, say Janet, and they first tell you whether that page exists. And by the way, if somebody has the same name as you, you might get this, Janet, the poet. And the other person, Janet, the serial killer. You don't want to get them confused. And when you type in your name, Janet, you see a little thing come down that says containing as 3 dots. Click, and then your name, click on it. That'll tell you how many times you're on Wikipedia. And some people who have an incredible amount of publicity go to that and type in, and they're not in it. I said, not a single Wikipedia page mentioned. Some people that are in 3 or 4, they know it. Wikipedia likes 2 to 5. So create those internal links. In other words, get yourself into a Wikipedia. If you're professional, you can get in there somehow. And Wikipedia, like I said, likes 2 to 4. Okay? Okay, so she later. Now, you can add how the horror actress I knew was in one Wikipedia article. So she had 1 internal link. But she had 2 movies there, though. They're not too bad horror movies. And she convinced both directors to make a Wikipedia page for their pages. She was helping them, she helped herself. Guess what? 2 weeks later, when they had the Wikipedia pages done, she was now in 3 internal links. So she's okay. So you can actually connect to people. Say you're tennis and you have your acting coaches in your tone, and you're one of the star pupils. You might type in the name, notice you're not there. You might ask them, would it be okay in your Wikipedia if you add me? I go, you know what, I should have asked you. You're one of my top students. You mentioned 3, forgot to mention you. Now you know Wikipedia internal link. So a lot of people, sorry about that. If you were Jack the Ripper, I was going to say, and where would you show up? In Scotland Yard. So you're Jack the Ripper, you type in your name, like, oh my God, I'm there. I didn't even know I was on Wikipedia. Of course, you're 159 years old, but that's a different story. And do not forget to finish your page. A lot of people leave them unfinished. These are the 2 things people get. The first one is external links. These would be links at the bottom that you click to go to. The most common one is your IMDb. If you're an actor or any kind of entertainer, a lot of times IMDb page is the first external link. And by the way, if you're on IMDb, paid $150 a year for IMDb to put your photo, put your stuff up. Otherwise, you look like, oh, you look poor. I mean, there's nothing worse when a director says, I got 5 actresses and none of them have faces. By the way, if you're on IMDb, pay IMDb Pro. You will love it because You will get to use your photos. You look like a professional. And if you can't afford 150, do one of two things: get a real job, better boyfriend. That's my advice. Sorry about that. And it costs about 150, I think, a year. So a lot of times I meet a B-horror actress. She said, "I've been in 5 movies," and then I look at them and her face isn't in them. But I go, "You're empty." She goes, "What's that mean?" It means you haven't paid Wikipedia Pro, IDMB Pro, or something like that. And if you're trying to break into something, have an external link to your official website. This way, 2 clicks, people can get in touch with you. Julie Robert doesn't have an external link. Why should I? To get in touch, because she's got an agent, she's big, you're not. So if you have a page, you say IMDb, or you might say Twitter. Some people like Twitter. The most important one is people can click on. See, you. By the way, IMDb is takes them straight to your resume for if you're an actor. IMDb also if you're a singer. But also if you want someone to get into contact you, say I see your page, you say, "Oh, you're 26, and she's a knockout. She's done lower beat. She's not too much above us. We can get her. How do we contact her?" Right on. Oh, there's her official page. There's on page. And by the way, I will tell you something. Do not create pages where you have the boxes, because I know a lot of directors, I've known actresses that won't do the boxes because they're hard. Give an actual email. Give an email address. So when they go to your site, they can click on the email and contact you. Okay? So you want external links, and like I said, you can go at the bottom, see external links, you can add them. And if you're anything, you don't have an external link on there, people will wonder why you're there, because you don't, okay? There's something. And at the bottom, don't forget categories. You see categories at the bottom. Look at them and put up where you belong. People born 1965. I think Julie Robert says of Americans of German descent, Americans of Scottish descent, Americans of Welsh descent. I don't know about you, but I think your mother's sleeping around a lot. Oops, sorry, didn't even say that. And so look at the categories, and you'll find Hispanic American, or you might find American authors. Whatever they have, you can just very easy. I recommend 7 to 10 of them minimum when you put them in. Don't forget those categories. You see them at the bottom. And by the way, you go to people that are like you, and you see that. Okay. Now, your goal when you're done is to make a perfect page, one page, perfect grammar and their style and beautiful. In other words, it looks like they formatted it. It should be something to look at, beautiful. Imagine if you paid a professional to do your Wikipedia page. It should look that good. Proofread it. It should blow out the water. Your friends, when they see your one page, they say, "Oh my God, that's beautiful." When I look at a Wikipedia page, within 10 seconds, I can tell. I've had people show me the Wikipedia page. Said, "Where's your photos?" "What do you mean photos?" "You got dry. By the way, you got 2 sentences. You got 5 warnings." Okay. And so afterwards, these are your goals. Your first goal is that Wikipedia will not take it down. I can almost guarantee you, I've never seen anybody take down a Wikipedia page if they play by their rules. They have the references. They have them correctly. They're reliable. Okay? And your second, and even more importantly, you do not want a Wikipedia that says, "This article has multiple issues. Looks bad. It's a stub. Needs more citations or verifications. Not neutral. Plagiarism," means that one I told you about. Needs additional, okay? And if it says the topic of this article may not meet Wikipedia's guidelines for biographies, it means you didn't play by the rules. You didn't get the right references. You're just making it up. I have yet to see a Wikipedia get rejected that played by the rules. And if it says the article provides insufficient context for those unfamiliar with this subject, I mean not well written. I don't understand what you're talking about. Someone who looked, okay, and it basically, I mean, someone who looked at your Wikipedia wouldn't understand what you're talking about. Don't get jargon. In other words, don't start saying, "He's a BMXer of the breed that," I don't understand. What are you, a professional bike rider? Whatever it has for that, that's what you do. I have a rule. Wikipedia may allow a lot of crappy Wikipedia pages, but you should not. It is inexcusable. You're that one thing, make sure you, and thirdly, so in other words, you should have an incredible Wikipedia page. And thirdly, they almost always change something. But the better job you do, the less it will change. I've had them every time change a little bit, but unless it's horrible, they don't change that much. And finally, I have one last thing to say. When you do this, learn this stuff about how to do a Wikipedia page. Find someone who's a friend, a professor you admire, a cousin who's a sculptor, and try to make them a Wikipedia page. That will impress that living crap out of me. If I hear you, I meet you, and you said, oh, I wrote my Wikipedia page, I took your advice, good. And then somebody says, but I also made my grandfather, who was an architect during his day, and he had enough articles, a Wikipedia page. So think about somebody else. It really is important. Just don't think about yourself. I'm a great believer, everybody should be 17% evil. That's my fanatical belief. But it also means 83% good. So hopefully, everything I told you made sense, and you will now see that I can write a Wikipedia page, I can plan for it. It's gonna fun. So have a good look at it, and thank you very much.